Well, I think every writer fears the blank page. I vastly prefer rewriting to writing. All writing really is rewriting, but you have to have something down in order to rewrite it, right? So the places where you get stuck are always like, oh man, I have just launched into something. I've got the first 3 to 5 pages of this thing that could just be dynamite, and then it just, where did it go? You'll spend days beating your head against the desk trying to figure out like what comes next. You try every trick that you've heard of from other writers. Like the biggest one that I know of is, well, just look back in the story. What came before it? Use that to pull you forward. But it can take days sometimes before you begin to find your way again or whatever. And it's terrifying, it's hard, it's difficult. And that's in the creative phase, because I think really writing is 2 kinds of work. One is generative, it's creative, and then the other is analytical, and that comes with its own set of challenges. Learning how to read your own work is a skill that you have to develop. Meaning, like, to go back and I want to be, while I'm doing the generative portion of my work, as free and intuitive and in touch with thought and feeling as possible. When I get to the analytical side of the work, I want to be as cold and detached as I could possibly be to begin to see the stuff that doesn't work. To examine in particular, and here's the thing, is the stuff that doesn't work sometimes, maybe it can, but you have to identify why it's not working right now. Learning to hone in on all those little weird moments and finding out what's really happening there is, it takes a lot of practice. And sometimes it takes a lot of distance. Sometimes it takes putting a story away for a while. I usually will finish something as a draft and then put it away for a month, 2 months. Maybe I'll give it to my first reader, my wife, and she'll say some things like, oh, that's interesting, and then, I'll put it in a drawer and not think about it for 2 months, and then I'll pull it out again, and then maybe now I can sort of begin to see that. And you go through that process many times, I think, before you begin to bring a story into its own.